Getting squirrely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 2023 Toyota Supra with the long-awaited manual transmission. I'm excited. Are you excited? We're out here in Northern California. Now, I'm born and raised in the Bay, and we have never had snow like this, at least not since 1990 when I was born. So, goddamn, we're not going to drive too crazy today because the roads might be a little bit icy and not ideal, but I'm excited about this. Are you excited? A lot of people have been hating Toyota for waiting so long to give us the manual, but I mean, hey, it's a business, guys, and from a business perspective, I think it's a smart move. The first year, bam, the Supra comes out, everyone's losing their minds. It's a polarizing car in terms of looks. I think the FT1 concept is amazing, insane, gorgeous, but obviously because of the hard points with this being shared with the Z4, things like strut tower, etc., you have to change the dimensions. The car's a little bit shorter and such. We got the 718 Cayman GTS, which we'll be reviewing and comparing to this car in a separate video. Check out the link in the description for that. Now, again, going back to the business decision, the first year they released the car. The second year, they give it a power bump up to 382 horsepower, that B58 inline 6, single turbo with the twin scroll. And now the third year, they give us the manual transmission, right when Nissan drops the Z. So, from a business perspective, I mean, Toyota is doing what they got to do. A little bit frustrating for the owners because we've wanted that manual transmission for so long. Well, it's finally here, boys. I am very much looking forward to it. Now, this car is quite a looker. It gets a lot of attention, even in the short amount of time I've spent behind the wheel. Already got a good amount of attention, and looks like it's actually snowing right now. Love this blue. But what you guys want to know, and what I want to tell you, is how she drives. Let's hop in. Oh. Oh, baby, baby, baby. Feels very familiar, right? Feels very BMW. Surprise, surprise. Not. But it's a nice place to be. If Toyota had to partner with any car company, BMW is not a bad choice. Now, BMW has made some interesting choices lately in terms of styling, but driving dynamics-wise, they're usually pretty dialed in. So, the manual. Toyota actually took the ZF-supplied housing and stuffed it with bespoke internals and gearing, and they actually tilted the plane of the shifter towards the driver. Part of that is because of the HVAC right here, so that when you go into third, you're not slamming your knuckles into these controls. And the suboptimal thing is that you need to actually move your arm pretty far back to actually get to the gear shifter, because again, they couldn't have it super far up because you would hit the console. So not ideal, but something that you can definitely get used to. Right off the bat, you know I like to talk about steering, and the steering in this car, very fast ratio. It actually reminds me a bit of that first generation FR-S. Very darty front end, very responsive. Although not as much feeling. A lot of people tell you that the Supra has completely numb steering. I disagree. I would not call it totally numb, but it is rather devoid of feedback. It's very accurate. It's pretty light, lighter than I would like personally. And we're gonna put the auto rev match off, which means sport mode. The throttle response in this car is quite good, so it's very easy to actually rev match and even double clutch without issue. Woohoo! Getting squirrely. Now we have Michelin Pilot Super Sport. It's kind of an older tire for a 2023 model year car. These are obviously not ideal conditions to be testing the traction there. Got some light snow. But what you guys want to know about this transmission is, no, it is not a rubbery mess like so many BMW transmissions are. You can tell that Toyota, they applied some of their Japanese magic to it, and it feels much, much better. It is much notchier. Maybe even slightly shorter throws than a regular BMW transmission, just by a tad. We have a BMW M2 today, so we'll be comparing that in a three-way, which you can watch linked in the description. I'll tell you definitively how the transmission compares to that. But this is a good manual transmission. The clutch take also doesn't feel quite as long as in most BMWs. It is a relatively long clutch throw, but it's not as heavily sprung. You can get a little bit more feel and feedback from it, and you know where that engagement point is, which we definitely appreciate. Now the wheelbase of this car is 97.1 inches, which is pretty short. The Miata is in the low 90s. And in some ways you could actually argue that this behaves like a slightly oversized, heavier, more powerful Miata in a way. It's darty, it's light, it's a little bit twitchy because of that short wheelbase. We're not pushing it too hard, but I can tell you that the suspension is pretty well dialed in. You're able to feel the texture of the road without it upsetting the car, without feeling excess harshness. Woohoo! A little bit of power shifty over there. Now, when you go from automatic, obviously 8-speed, that's 3,382 pounds. And when you go to the manual, you save around 40 pounds. Are you gonna feel the 40 pounds? Probably not. In fact, the car is gonna feel slower because although the final drive ratio is higher, 3.42 versus 3.15, the individual gears in the manual are much longer. So 0 to 60, Toyota claims you lose about 0.3 seconds. You also lose about 3 to 4 mpg, but that's not why you buy this car. I would take the manual transmission over the automatic any day, just because of that engagement. Pardon the misshift. The cracks and popples, rather juvenile, but you're getting a Supra. That's the spirit of the car. You are trying to be a little bit, perhaps, juvenile. I dated an ex, and when I told her I was considering a Supra versus Cayman, she's like, Kevin, the Supra, it's a boy's car. The Cayman, that's the man's car. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that's silly, but there's a froster going. But what I do agree is that the spirit of the Supra is a little bit more playful and a little bit more young than a Porsche. Porsche's a little bit more stiff and buttoned down and got to be proper. I don't know why I'm doing a British accent for a German car, but you know what I mean. The car handles its weight well. 33, 40-ish pounds. But because of that weight, it's not going to be as nimble, as light, as tossable as its sibling, the GR86. So a question that often comes up is, which car is more fun? GR86, Toyota Supra? And I'd say they're quite substantially different cars. Obviously, they're more similar than the GR Corolla. GR Corolla is very stable, very planted, very capable as a car, and that one's through and through Toyota. But when you take Toyota and you give them a little bit of Subaru with the 8.6, or give them a little bit of BMW, or a lot of BMW, with the Supra, you get something that's a little bit more engaging and rewarding and edgy than that GR Corolla. The Supra is quite twitchy, and it's eager to rotate. The front end is very darty. Using throttle, you can get it to rotate. Even just driving here to this road, I was third gear, 2,000 RPM, give it a little bit of throttle, and it's getting squirrely. It's losing traction. The car overall is very traction limited. Boatloads of power, underrated by BMW. The B58 engine, inline 6, 3-liter, single turbo twin scroll, making around 382 horsepower. This thing just hauls ass. But when you compare it to the GR86, the GR86 I'll tell you about in a sec, but first. gotta love that sound. The GR86 is light, it's tossable, it's easy to play with at the limits because it's so light and predictable. This car, it's a little bit edgier, and part of that is fun and rewarding because you want a car that's gonna be willing and easy to rotate. But I'd say day to day on the road, the GR86 is probably a little bit more, it's more fun. But that's because of my own biases as well, right? So I like what a light, tossable, nimble FR platform has to offer. Now the 86 in comparison is a lighter, more tossable, nimble kind of car. And I think on the road, generally speaking, if you like dancing with the car, pushing it, dancing with that limit, getting a little bit of oversteer, the 86 is more approachable. It's more fun and tossable in that way. But the Supra is obviously far more capable. And if you enjoy the feeling of just being thrown back into your seat with acceleration and power, and you want a little bit more comfort, creature comforts if you will, better build quality and all that stuff, then the Supra would be the better fit. Anyway, I'm just super excited that Toyota finally gave us a manual transmission in this car. Hallelujah. Let me know, what do you guys think? Would you choose the GR Supra, the GR86, the GR Corolla? Let me know with a comment down below. Much love, my friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in that next one.